Emigrants, the past is the future. Chapter 3 by Raginmund. Planning Mini Eden Step 1. The commander handed Ronnie a letter. From the parents. Ronnie opened it and frowned. "What's wrong?" the officer asked. "Well, I can't read Polish. I assume Zimfara's parents agree, but if they've included restrictions or anything, I have no idea. I'd like a translation before things get serious today," Ronnie requested. "Yes, ma'am, translation before we go out today," he replied, and she took a deep breath. "Didn't you know she's Polish?" he asked. "Nationalities don't matter to me at all. I need her for what she can do, like anyone else. We never got involved in your petty quarrels and we don't intend to. Here, everyone gets a chance to become a hero," Ronnie replied. The commander burst out laughing loudly. "Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am." The military, engineers, and botanical scientists were all gathered in the large hall. A 3D hologram projector repeated a presentation showing a blockade formed by military forces and desert nomads, spanning a wide strip of land from the camp to the sea. A satellite, apparently able to communicate with the sand, instructed it to open up a deep snake-like trench along that strip. The sea examined the new path leading to the camp, and then, trees began to spring from the sand along the edge of this river. Ronnie gave orders to the team leaders, checking their gear and making adjustments here and there, especially for the newcomers. Once everyone had left except for the commander, she discussed something with him. It was clear he disliked the plan, but eventually accepted it as an order. Then she went to Zimana. "Are you ready?" She nodded. "Good. Today you'll have a girl and a boy who aren't from the camp. They've never seen a real desert before. They only have visitor clearance, but you can explain all the environmental functions to them. I'm giving all three of you helmet duty, so pay close attention to their heat data. Cadet Kia will help with translations if needed. The kids do speak English, but if a word is missing, Kia will translate into Japanese. She'll also carry extra water for the children." She walked with Zimana to the visitors' hall, where Kia was already waiting with a Japanese family. After the greeting, Ronnie handed each parent a tablet, and the children received a small one made of rainbow-colored plastic. She held up her own tablet and showed how she placed her hand on the screen and said, "Ronnie." The tablet powered on. Then she said, "Pad save mode," and the tablet saved and went into sleep mode. She had everyone turn their tablets back on and gave Zimana a nod. "Kid pad sleep," said Zimana, and the children's tablets went into sleep mode. "Zimana is trained to make sure nothing happens to you too, but you must listen to her. There are also snakes and scorpions here, so be very careful. Cadet Kia will also be with you and help," Ronnie explained to the two children, and then began helping the parents put on the Freeman suits. Then she gave each of the four a visitor wristband and explained the function of the holographic companion. When the wristband gave a brief hot sting to synchronize with their pulse and other vital functions, the parents looked surprised. The children let out a short scream, then started laughing as their chosen holographic animals jumped out of the wristbands, begging for attention with dancing, tail wagging, and more. The father immediately wanted to buy the wristbands and asked for the price. Without much thought, he probably would have paid $1 million for them on the spot. "The wristbands only function fully within the sensor range of our projects," Ronnie finally explained. "I can set them up later to show each other's vital stats within a 5 km radius, and the holographic companions only work at home." The father nodded but still insisted on knowing the price. Ronnie thought for a moment and consulted telepathically. "Okay, the GPS function turns off once you leave our facility. If you don't become part of our project, activation for locating and rescue costs something depending on whether we need a hostage rescue unit, a rescue diver, or something similar. But if you activate it just because your daughter went dancing without permission or your son went to play soccer, it'll cost you a $10,000 penalty. She picked up another wristband and asked Kia to help put it on. Then she took her own arm and hit the wristband with a hammer after pressing a button on the wall. Immediately, an alarm sounded, and all windows and doors locked until a special response team arrived. An officer removed the wristband and disarmed it. The signal from these wristbands is limited to this solar system, it doesn't have pilgrim signal range. But I wouldn't be surprised if they could still perceive it, especially through the star ley lines. Yeah, Space Navigator, find us the jump coordinates to Alpha Tauri, the humans who work like oxen. The boy giggled. In an open area, a 50 square meters lightweight support hall was set up with the help of quadcopters, and 100-liter water tanks were installed 50 meters away from the main project site. Leaders of several nomadic groups were also present and even lent a helping hand here and there. Inside the hall, a medical station, sleeping area, and storage space were established. Ronnie also had a large area leveled and secured with storm walls. She was sure it wouldn't take long before this spot would flourish as a full-fledged marketplace. An Arab in the desert who doesn't want to trade probably hasn't been invented yet, she thought. It was meant to be a shelter along the desert routes, a gesture of thanks for their cooperation. The tanks were filled with purified drinking water. Providing clean water and medical care was part of the agreement. Everything else, well, was a matter of negotiated trade. Heat collectors made from industrial diamonds provided electricity, and soon, even the camels appreciated the panels as shaded roofs. One of the leaders complained that no prayer corner had been planned. Ronnie shook her head. It is allowed for every religion to establish a prayer area, but they must build it themselves. That way, no one can accuse us of making the site unholy by building it ourselves. He nodded slowly, then said, not dumb at all. By midday, the hall and tanks were already in place, and a full pause was called. There was Arabic tea and honey bread, and the nomad leaders insisted that every single worker, including the 2 children, accept the invitation. Some wondered how they had managed to get so much honey and bread so quickly, bread that was even still warm. Their wives had baked it on site while the others were building. I'll see if we can get solar cookers for this station, Ronnie said in response to the generous meal. We'll donate 10 cooktops, said the Japanese representative. Then a 3-hour heat break was declared. Only the military underwent an intense holographic defense simulation. Toxic green hyenas, lions, scorpions, and snakes appeared to have formed a coordinated attack. Even the cadets were not spared. The main targets were the officers and Ronnie, though Ronnie herself was not to be harmed. After an hour of intense endurance, irritated elephants were introduced into the simulation. Eventually, the system collapsed, and several officers broke down. When a T-Rex showed up, it became clear that many soldiers had stopped thinking and were just firing. Ronnie ended the simulation laughing, though her expression turned serious as she addressed the officers. Cadets who didn't require heat monitoring were sent to shower and were given the rest of the day off. Ronnie went to the commander. It was obvious how much he was seething with anger and how hard he clenched his teeth. She handed him a list. These ones, I don't want them out there tomorrow. They're trigger happy. Then she gave him a second list. These ones will only be deployed during the first half of the route. Their heat endurance isn't high enough, I want them rotated out more frequently. Everyone gets 2 extra bottles of water tomorrow. She handed him a third list. I'm only allowing these cadets to help with the water transports. and those below the line are assigned to medical courier duties. She named 3 more individuals. I'll deal with these personally. I think they're afraid and flinch at every shot. Maybe we should find them another post. Until then, they remain at the base. The commander looked at her with wide eyes. He understood this stress test meant something, but this time, the lists weren't about who should improve. They were about who was ready right now. A clearly high-ranking nomad leader approached Ronnie. My eldest daughter will help her mother tomorrow. It is an honor. My son needs to learn to think with responsibility. It would be my honor if he could accompany the children's group. He can also translate Arabic to English. I can't simply allow that, Ronnie replied. According to our safety protocols, I do believe he could survive a few days in the desert, but our systems aren't calibrated for him. If it's acceptable to you, I can assign him to accompany a Moroccan cadet. He can help the cadet improve his English. But he must learn how to wear the suit and understand the signals by tomorrow. So it only works if they go together. If God sends you to us, then we follow, he answered. She waved over the training officer. I need the Moroccan cadet tomorrow, in full suit and with extra water. Scorpion and snake sensors. Sonic repellents. He'll work with his little prince. He wrecked a suit today, the officer replied. During the exercise, she asked. No, before that. He got angry, impatient. She looked at him without much interest. He nodded. I want to see the suit in him. Someone from equipment tech too. Then she nodded to the nomad leader. Bring your son to this officer. The cadet approached Ronnie with his head lowered. She had to turn around for a moment because she couldn't help but grin. Then she turned back to him. Please put the suit on again as best as you can. Show me where it's torn in the process. She turned to the clothing technician. Record it, please. Then she turned back to the cadet. Just go ahead, don't pay attention to him. When he was finished, she said. Okay, now take it off, not impatiently, but angrily. Good. I need you in action tomorrow. Go get help now, and then teach the prince how to put on the suit and how to read its signals. After breakfast, go to the supply room for your extra gear, snake and scorpion protection. Zamana and Kia will be with you, but they're not there to support you. They have their own protégés. He looked at her, confused. She looked at him and said. You wanted to be scolded? Oh, no, you didn't. So why should I? You know, if you'd fallen the way you nearly did, you'd have really hurt your butt. I'll give you something to play with, some long-legged rubber trousers. For wearing, of course. You'll need all your hot-blooded desert fury for that one. It's twisted 5 cm thick and 5 meters long. I have an Italian teenage girl who's been trying for 3 days already. But maybe you'll be faster. See you tomorrow. His expression changed completely. He was speechless. Not that everyone succeeds, the training officer said with a sympathetic smile. But they use the attempt as an excuse to goof off. One of them once told me that's how they do it where she comes from. Ronnie and several officers went through the group that didn't belong to the Desert Riders. She also checked the prince's suit and frowned slightly. Why doesn't he have a rank? Everyone knows who he is, he should at least have the protective badge. And he's here to learn, so he needs the student mark too. Were you planning on making him 100% responsible? She asked aloud, then whispered to the training officer. Be careful. As a student, he's your responsibility. The officer swallowed and nodded. The riders and the military marked out a wide strip of land. They then fired tuning forks into the center of the strip, embedding them in the sand. Suddenly, the strip sank 3 meters in the middle, sloping upward toward the edges. The sand melted and formed a glass basin, and ocean water followed, filling it. "A tree for your children," said Ronnie over the walkie-talkie. Everyone now planted a tree beside the basin and inserted an irrigation straw. The parents here should bring their children to the family tree and let them see it. Mangroves are survival artists and masters of resilience. May this strength unite with your life force, Ronnie added. She spoke with the Japanese representative and later with the commander and the nomad leader. The river must be protected from silting, but it mustn't be dredged, she stated. Both nodded. "Were you satisfied with my son?" the leader asked. "Oh, Since I hadn't planned for him, I didn't really have any expectations, and I don't set expectations for people I don't know. But now my rookies will be doing a beginner management course. Planning and basic management, creating a vegetable garden and a wooden garden pavilion. Your 2 children are more than welcome to join," Ronnie replied. Later. "Where is Zimana?" asked a woman who was handing out the mail. "She's in South America for now, she's gone there for 3 weeks with Ronnie," said the training officer. "The course books are currently only published in German. If you're interested, please visit my page for published books. There you'll see when the English translation becomes available." Hand pointing right, https://autor-Raginmund.de/Bucher und Ihre Main Books.